Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom. Yada Yahuwah. So today I'm going to talk on sick and tired of being sick and tired, yet enduring. So let me get to praying. Abba Yah, I thank you for the Shabbat. I thank you for this opportunity to minister, to just speak. May my words be edifying, also encouraging, and deal with the reality of this life. May I move forward in your will and purposes so that your will be done on earth as is in the Shamayim. Hallelujah. So, man, a lot of times in this lifetime, people forget that we are in the process of growing, but also in the process of enduring. When you're dealing with plants or dealing with vegetation and stuff, a lot of times you got to cut at it, cut off limbs so that it can grow better. When you're working out, you put on more weight. So the opposing pressure or force against you sometimes seems great, but you have to resist and push harder to get it off you. Many of us have read about Job, or Job as we called him, and how he was doing everything seemingly right, loving on his family. He was a wealthy man, had things, possessions, and then one day the Hasatan came and opposed him. Not able to take his life, but he opposed all that he had. So his children taken. His wife basically wanted him to, you know, speak against the Most High and just die. He was going through some things. His body was, going through some things. Many of us probably can relate to that body going through something. The older you get, your body start going through something. But man, that man endured and he came out of it in a better situation. Some people out here will teach and talk and say that I guess a man of Yah would not have complaints, would not have down moments. And I want to encourage you and let you know that's not the reality. You're going to have moments, likely, unless you're a special one. You're going to have moments where you're going to contemplate doubt, that you're going to think that, man, this is too much for me. But you got to endure. You got to get back in there and fight. Most of us, I mentioned Job or Job, Job, but Job, Job is where we spell it now, and that's job. If you working somewhere, you're gonna go through some stuff. A lot of times I'm dealing with young folks and they are not very respectful, not towards age. A lot of times I'm showing them, when the women walk by, I open the doors and I'm like, y'all should do this too. Trying to teach them some things and stuff like that, but they don't have that same type of raising. They weren't reared that way. So they talk back to older folks. They express themselves a lot of times, and most of the time it's all about them. Not much balance in it. And they do not have a care whatsoever in what they say or how they say. Calling you out your name, all this different stuff, stuff that, when I was younger would probably get you a swift kick in the butt. But, you know, you work job, you can, see that a lot of times people are impatient. They don't have any type of courtesy, hospitality, because they want what they want and they want it right now. And you got to endure those things and, like, man, not be like that. Don't match energy. And a lot of times that's not the easiest thing. Sometimes the temptation is there, but if you go there, you got to pull yourself back in. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just read some text and stuff and talk on some things and show you some things because, again, sometimes people talk about life as if life ain't gonna life, as if we're not living in a time frame where existence as we know it is falling apart. Things are gonna get worse. When I was younger, people wouldn't cuss at church or in those buildings or by those buildings. People wouldn't smoke at or by those buildings. They wouldn't drink. Now that, when I last was in one of those buildings, over a decade ago, that, become a common thing. You would see people come from the club, work in clubs, and come be the musician at ministries. And that's just a gig, just a job. They weren't there for ministry. They were there just to get paid. They'd be outside smoking, talking about the women and all this different stuff, everything but the service. But just recently here in this area, somebody shot up a ministry, burnt it up, and did some things. And it's like people are shocked by these things, but it's like things are going to get worse. The government, all this different stuff, is going to get worse. It's supposed to get worse. And what are you going to do? I get it. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired, but you got to endure, especially if you trust and believe in Yah. Some of the process is some of the process. You look at Noah, he building that ark while all those people were just cutting up. They probably was mocking him, joking at him. What you doing? It ain't never rained. It ain't never. But let me go ahead. I'm making this intro a little bit too long, so let's go and let's share some text. Sharing some text. Tehillim, or Psalms 3. O Yahuwah, how my adversaries have increased. This is supposed to be King Dawid, or Dawid, maybe before he was king, but it's Dawid. Many rising up against me. Many are saying of me, there is no deliverance for him in Elohim. It's king, or the one that's going to be king. But you, O Yahuwah, are a shield for me, my esteem, and the one lifting up my head. So yeah, he noticed he got opposition, but again, he knows who has him. I cried to Yahuwah with my voice, and he heard me from his set apart mountains, Selah. He cried. Something was going on, and was heard. I laid down and slept. I awoke, for Yahuwah sustained me. I'm not afraid of 10,000 of people who have set themselves against me all around. Look at that. He got over 10,000 people as opposition. Y'all out here crying about option, those in the Bible time, we are still in the Bible time, but they had opposition. Arise, O Yahuwah, save me, O my Elohim, because you have stricken all my enemies on the cheek. I should hit myself, but pop on the cheek. You have broken the teeth of the wrong. Yah's fighting for you. You don't always see the results of it immediately, but those that are opposing you, if you are walking in Yah, He will smoke them or hit them on the cheek, bust out their teeth, make their life uncomfortable because they making yours uncomfortable if you're walking in Yah. Deliverance belongs to Yahuwah. Your favor is on your people. Selah. All right. Again, here's Dawid again. How long would you forget me, O Yahuwah, forever? Now, this man is the chosen king of Israel, but yet he even feels forgotten. No, y'all ain't forsaking him, but this man feels forgotten. He like, you ain't gonna think about me forever, Come on, you going through something. I'm telling you, be encouraged. If Yah is for you, he is for you. It's greater than however many people are against you. But it sometimes does feel like you at this by yourself, that you're forgotten, that you're forsaken. But you got to trust in the process. Again, how long will you forget me, O Yahuwah, forever? How long would you hide your face from me? How long would I take counsel in my being, grief in my heart day by day? How long will my enemy be exalted over me? Come on, working at these jobs, man, it could be taxing. It can have us weary. It can have us, come on, like, man, I want to quit. I got to endure. You know, look, I was at a long time place for a while. I was there 23 years. And I left and I started a new place, and I'm going through some of the same struggles. Basically, they say when you get to different levels, you deal with different devils. That's a saying out there. And my lifetime has shown me that this is true. But people, tell me, oh man, you're supposed to be this believer. You don't, you ain't supposed to have no down moments. See, most people that I know dealt with the atonement last week. I'm coming up on the atonement this week. I don't follow everybody's schedule, everybody's calendar, but you know, I gotta reflect on me because a lot of times I'm the one that opened the doorway for a lot of these attacks to come my way. I'm not without, issue, without error. I'm very fallible. Many may think that I put myself as perfect, and I'm like, no. Just because I follow rules and govern myself and try to put up guards to do what's supposed to be done does not mean that I see myself better than another person. I'm trying to get my stuff together. And if me getting myself together bothers you, then hey, if you need to cut off from me, do that. I used to be bothered by that, but man, come on, you got to do what you got to do so that you can endure to the end. So again, how long would I take counsel in my being? And I'm in my own head thinking on this thing, trying to come to some conclusion. But grief is in my heart day by day. How long would my enemy be exalted over me? Look, answer me, O Yahuwah, my Elohim. Enlighten my eyes, lest I sleep in death. Lest my enemy say, I have prevailed against him. Lest my adversaries rejoice when I am moved. But I have trusted in your loving commitment. My heart rejoices in your deliverance. I sing to Yahuwah because he has been good to me. Notice the transition. Grief, going through something. But as he endured, he reflects on the loving commitment of Yah. yet he felt forsaken. Now his heart rejoices as he feels delivered and saved. And we have to come back to the point that we are, singing or acknowledging that Yah is good to us. Let me keep going. I'm going to go over here to the Brit Hadashah. Galatians 6. Do not be led astray. Elohim is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he shall also reap. So I just mentioned that with my own self. When I reflect, that's what this atonement is about. I have not done everything right. Though people still feel like that's how they feel like I'm puffed up at times. I'm beating myself up a lot of times. And I see when stuff comes back from the seeds that I planted. Come on. Elohim is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he shall also reap. That's why I like to talk to people to their face on stuff. I like to tell them how I feel instead of talk behind their back. But everybody they can't deal with that. Everybody can't do that. It, I get angry. I sometimes match energy with people. And that's basically, if I get that back, I deserve that, but it don't feel good. I didn't put forth the effort in life that would have me in a better job situation. And so I'm reaping from that. I'm a laborer because I didn't put the work in school or whatever, or a trade. Being 53, I can get upset about some of the things like, man, I feel like, as far as work, I'm not as sought after, even though they'll tell you, well, people will tell me that, I'm an excellent worker. But that being an excellent worker doesn't matter nowadays because they don't value a good worker. They'll use that person. And then once he has one lack day, short day, where he's still giving more than anyone else, the fact that he's lacking, they'll let him go. Let her go. That's how this thing works. They don't care. You got to get them 110% is what they want. You come in with 50, even though your 50 is more than the next person's 100, and they're not going to accept that. They're not going to be okay with that. They feel like you cheated them, even though you've given more than the next person, and they're paying the same wages. They want all of you, and they'll trample you out. So you got to know your value, and you got to be willing to deal with some of the mess that comes with these jobs. Anyway, let me keep going. Do not be led astray. Elohim is not mocked, for whatever man sows, that he shall also reap. Because he who sows to his own flesh shall reap corruption from the flesh. But he who sows to the spirit or ruach, that's why we got to fast and pray, shall reap everlasting life from the ruach or the spirit. Fast, pray, read the word, and let us not lose heart in doing good. Come on, don't be weary in doing good, but come on, it happens. For in due season we shall reap if we do not grow weary. Come on. You're going to get your reward. Just like when you do something wrong, you get a reward. But the thing is, when you do something wrong, the reward seems to come a lot quicker than when you do something good. And sometimes you can lose patience when that reward is coming, but you're like, man, I want it now. So then, as we have occasion, let us do good to all, especially to those who are the household of faith or belief. Come on. All right. Let me keep going. Let me keep going. Matthew 24. I'm going to read a nice little passage here. Show you how Mashiach or Yahusha went about it. And going out, Yahusha went away from the set apart place, and his taught ones came near to point out to him the buildings of the set apart place. And Yahusha said to them, "Do you not see all of these? Truly, I say to you, not one stone shall be left here upon another at all, which shall not be thrown down." And as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the taught ones came to him separately, saying, "Say to us, when shall this be? And what is the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" And Yahusha answering said to them, "Take heed that no one leads you astray. For many shall come in my name." Hashem is the name. Is he talking about coming, saying there Yahusha, or is he talking about come in that authority, or try to come with that authority? It's a good question for me that I ask. But anyway, for many shall come in my name, saying, "I am the Messiah," and they shall lead many astray. And you shall begin to hear of fightings and reports of fightings. So those are wars. See that you are not troubled, for these have to take place, but the end is not yet. So all the stuff that Trump is doing, trumpet, blowing the trumpet, Yom Teruah, trumpet. Trump has been in office before. They were saying, "Oh, doom and gloom." He's in office now. People doom and gloom. So much stuff has not happened that the book is talking about. So don't get don't get don't get in a bunch down there. You got all these wars and rumors of wars. We can't stress over this. Not if you're a believer. We got to trust and believe this is part of the process. These things have to occur for this lifetime to come to an end, and the lifetime of forever to come into fruition. See that you are not troubled, for these have to take place, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and reign against reign, and there shall be scarcities of food. We haven't ran into that yet. I know I haven't. I ate good just this week. A lot of Middle Eastern food. And there should be scarcities of food and deadly diseases and earthquakes in places. And all these are the beginning, not the beginning of birth pains. Then they shall deliver you up to affliction and kill you. You're going to have to go through some things. And you shall be hated by all nations for my name's sake. The believers, call them saints, are going to be afflicted. I mentioned about Job being afflicted. Dawid was obviously afflicted. Stuff goes on with believers too. It's not all pleasant. It's not all blossoms and butterflies and stuff. No. You go through something as a believer. And a lot of it is self-afflict. You a lot of it you bring on yourself, but you're going to go through some things. Then they should deliver you up to affliction and kill you, and you shall be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many shall stumble, and they shall deliver up one another, and shall hate one another. There's going to be some division going on. We're supposed to be united, but there's going to be division. And many false prophets shall rise up and lead many astray. I see many of false prophets even today, people teaching people stuff that's contrary to the text. I'm one that's against the Trinity doctrine and stuff like that. It's so much different stuff out here. I'm against the similitude doctrine. I don't see these things backed up by the text. So either I'm false or they're false. I don't make the decision, but in the end, we're going to find out. So many false prophets shall rise and lead many astray. And because of the increase in lawlessness, the love of many shall become cold. But he shall have endured to the end shall be saved. Many of us have went through these altar calls and they say, oh, you say this words, you say this, you save. But no, it says to he that endures, that's who's going to be saved. Salvation, many, make it as if, I'm saved. You ain't even finished your race. Your race ain't over. You ain't crossed the finish line. Man, look, tortoise in the hare. You could be winning, you could be all ahead and still fail to cross the finish line. I'm gonna give you an example, just the one that most people ignore. Judas or Yehuda. If they were out doing miracles, who was right there among them? If they were out teaching, who was right there among them? Yehuda, we call him Judas, was doing everything that the other disciples were doing up till he wasn't. He was right there in the thick of things. His race looked good because he was one of the called ones, one of the chosen one. When Yahusha went about, they seen Judas, and everybody that was around thought everything was solid until it wasn't. Don't be one that's, everything looks solid and then it wasn't. I used to follow this group, when I was a Christian called Cross Movement, and one of their lead members don't even believe in the Most High at all no more. He agnostic. He done went all the way away, and he was one of the main ones that seemed that was fervent for it. And I'm like, wow. I'm not gonna even throw his name out there because, I used to play words for friends with him all the time, and we would have dialogues in the inbox and stuff. Somebody I viewed as a good dude, but again, he ain't enduring to the end. But his end ain't here, so he could always come back. Hopefully, he will. That's my prayer that he would come back. But right now, he ain't even with it. And I'm like, shoot, Christianity is only a pit stop. You gotta keep going. When you realize that you're Israel, you're supposed to keep going. That ain't where you're even supposed to stop at either. Keep going. You're following the way. The way is directions, but where is the directions leading you to? The destination, Yahuwah. But be encouraged. Let me keep going. Let me keep going. Because I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired sometimes too. Yeah. But I'm still enduring. I'm still enduring. Let me get back to this text. Let me get back. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So I want to go over here and show you it's a short little brief little thing that many of us have probably read in our past time. So just want to go over here and deal with this prophet. Let me see, share my screen again. So many call Elijah Eliyahu. So Malachim Aleph, or 1 King 18, and here starting where what it says, 21 verse, it says, and Eliyahu came to all the people and said, how long will you keep hopping between two opinions? He like, man, make up your mind. These people, stressed out Moses, but, almost all the prophets got stressed out by the people of Israel because, man, for us to always be proclaiming that we this, special people set apart, we don't act special. No, let me redirect that. We do act special. Special ed. That's why, it always amazed me how people, sometimes you can see the arrogance on some Israelites to act like they just better than everybody. And then it's like, um, Yah chose us, and yet we kept rejecting him. So how do we act like we got any supremacy over anybody when you have access to the king and yet you keep rejecting him or you trying to kill him or whatever? You don't seem too bright. But anyway, how long would you keep hopping between two opinions? If Yahuwah is Elohim, follow him. And if Baal, follow him. But the people answered him not a word. And Eliyahu said to the people, I am alone, left a prophet. This man felt like he was alone, but he forgot about Obadiah. Obadiah had helped him out, so he wasn't alone. But at that moment, he was alone. I am alone and left of a prophet, but the prophets of Baal are 450 men. When you're walking this walk with Yah, it's going to seem like you're alone. You're not, but you're going to see large numbers of people that's opposition. See, this man right here seemed alone. He said 450 men. But if Yah be for you, it's greater than, if the world is against you. But see, that one against 450 can be overwhelming. Yes, that is overwhelming. Come on. When we at our workplace and all the other mess going on, we doing what we supposed to do, and it seemed like the favor ain't coming our way. Man, that could be so dry. With me, it be wearing me out. I be feeling drained, and I be like, oh my goodness, just can't wait till I get home or whatever. And I be trying not to complain, but I ain't gonna even lie, I complain sometimes. But again, endure and get through it. Cause man, you got to know you're going to attract attack when you are walking in Yah. When you trying to walk in excellence, yes, that excellence is going to be called upon more so than somebody who's slack. So you're going to probably be the most worked person when you operate on Yah because that favor is on you. When you do something, it works, it goes through. Somebody else, it ain't going to be the same. That grace is on you. So expect and be encouraged. Don't let nobody use you. Don't play the fool. But know that that's the likelihood. That the attack is gonna come your way because you with Yah. Just like I mentioned with Job. When you're on your job, when you're on your Job, best believe you're gonna attract attack. Hasatan is gonna ask, can he sift you? Can he, I ain't gonna take his life, but I'm gonna be at you. And you're going to have the opportunity to match energy and choose not to match energy. You're going to be sick and tired of being sick and tired, most likely. Some people, some people, they can operate in joy all the time. But I'm showing you right here, Job got a little weary with it. Eliyahu got a little weary with it. If you go back, Moses got a little weary with it. Moses was tired of the people to the fact that he ended up getting himself in trouble. Instead of speaking to the rock, he smote it. Come on. King Dawid. Let me keep going, though. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going because I'm gonna show you even Yahusha got a little weary. A little bit. Come on, but Timotheus, bet. Second Timothy. You then, my son, be strong in the favor that is in Messiah Yahusha. What's the favor that's in him? That's that Ruach of Yahuwah. Come on. The body of Mashiach is supposed to operate like the head. And what you have heard from me among many witnesses, entrust these to trustworthy men who shall be competent to teach others as well. Man, I know people don't think I'm competent to teach others, but hey, the maybe 2 or 3 people out here that's listening to this, thank you. Maybe I'm not sent to the thousands and 100,000s, but somebody getting something from me. And my main focus is to make sure my household gets something from me and that I get something from me. I maybe not be for the masses. So be it. Entrust these to trustworthy men who shall be competent to teach others as well. Suffer hardship with us as a good soldier of Yahusha Messiah, the Mashiach. Come on. You're going to have to suffer. You're going to have to endure some stuff, endure some hardship, just like a soldier. Yeah, we are at war. And many of us are too comfortable to even see it. They seeking comfort and not, realizing that, hey, it's attacks on every side, especially when you walking in Yah. No one serving as a soldier gets involved in the affairs of this life in order to please only him who enlisted him as a soldier. I'm a royal priest, a kahuna. I'm under the big kahuna, Yahuwah. And my big brother is general over me, Yahusha. And if anyone competes in a game, he is not crowned unless he competes according to the rules. I love games. I love competing. But see, most people, they get focused on beating others. My focus is being better and beating myself. So even when I lose something, as long as I know I gave my best, I'm good. I used to always want to beat other people and stuff like that, but I have my limitations. I used to love basketball, but I wasn't the best at basketball. So if I had a good showing and I did my best, I was good. If anyone competes in a game, he is not crowned unless he competes according to the rules. I don't like rules, but I follow the rules, and that bothers people. The hardworking farmer ought to be first to receive his share of the crops. You want to be the first to benefit from what you put in. But of course, I don't have a problem giving my first to Yah because I know He gonna let me reap more. Think over what I say, for the master shall give you understanding. He's going to give you comprehension. Understanding and comprehension basically are similar, but I'm under authority of this master, so he's going to give me understanding. I'm going to stand under him. Into all this, remember that Yahusha Messiah of the seed of Dawid, remember we talked on David, was raised from the dead according to my good news, for which I suffer hardship as a criminal unto change, but the word of Elohim is not change. See, Shaul was dealing with some stuff where he was locked up for the word, but we ain't locked up. We could be locked up in our minds, but we going through stuff even in these jobs or these jobs, these workplaces. Endure. Man, these people get on your nerves, but and it could seem like Groundhog Day, like, man, same day, today is the same as yesterday, as the day before, as the day before. But we got to make sure that we stay consistently growing, even in these places that seem dead. For which I suffer hardship as a criminal unto change, but the word of Elohim is not changed. So I endure through it all for the sake of the chosen, so that they too obtain deliverance, which is in Messiah Yahusha, with everlasting esteem. People watching you, your struggles, when you match energy, when you choose not to match energy, they watching you and they learning. It ain't always what you say, but it's what you do. And many of us know that to be true because many of us had parents that told us not to do things that they were doing. And we end up doing what they did rather than what they said. They'll tell you always, do what I say, not what I do. But it's so easy to fall into the trap of doing what people do more so than what they say. They can tell you all day the right way, but hey, this is what you're doing and you say it works for you. Why it can't work for me? You end up following what people do. So learn to be an example. Do what you say. Let your word be your bond so that others may be delivered just as you are from them seeing what you do and then mimicking and following what you do. They should follow you as you follow Messiah. Not follow you astray, but follow you as you follow Messiah. So get into the business of following Messiah as a lifestyle. Come on. Sometimes you're gonna have to choose to fast from some of the things that you like to do. Choose to abstain. Come on. Pull yourself away from some of the stuff, the conversations, the things that, is comfortable to do, to be an example. Trustworthy is the word, for if we die with him, we shall also live with him. Come on, we got to die to ourselves. If we endure, we shall also reign with him. Again, endure. Salvation is for him who endures. We shall also reign with him. If we deny him, he also shall deny us. If we are not trustworthy, he remains trustworthy. See, he gonna stay consistent. We got to learn how to be consistent. I think that's one thing that bothers people about me is that I remain consistent. Hey, when it comes to attendance at work, I got a good attendance. When it comes to me doing certain things, and that's the thing that annoys some people is because I'm consistent on stuff. So that means when I'm following rules or whatever, even though I don't agree with the rules, I'm consistent on it. And it could be a bother because it's like, I know, you ain't got to tell me. Well, if you know, let me see that you know. Do what's right then. But anyway. If you're not trustworthy, he remains trustworthy. It is impossible for him to deny himself. If we want to be like him, we got to learn to be, that it's impossible for us to deny him if we really are walking in him. So we need to be showing ourselves to reflect and be about his authority and his character. Remind him of this earnestly, witnessing before the master, not to wage verbal battles, which is useless, to the overthrowing of the hearers. And it's good to reason the word, but if you're gonna, I try my best. I don't be wanting to do these debates. It's a lot of my Hebrew brothers that want to do these debates, but I'm like, come on. In the end, that person even digs in deeper on their position. It's like so, it ain't no progress. It does have me sharpening my iron. So sometimes I will get in there just to, keep myself sharp. But other than that, you ain't changing that person. They gonna dig in deeper to where they at. So, these verbal battles, they useless unless you're using it to sharpen your skills and stuff like that. Other than that, they useless. But remind them of this, earnestly witnessing before the master, not to wage verbal battles, which is useless, to the overthrowing of the hearers. Because basically, a lot of times when you at these debates, you end up messing up. Not the person that you're debating with. Okay, they ain't going nowhere, but it be the listeners, the people that's hearing, that basically get discouraged when it comes to. They like, man, that's all this is about. They just arguing their position. There's a lot of people that don't want to have nothing to do with Israelites because they see how they banter on these corners, how they do it on social media. It's not very attractive at all because it seems like you're always at war with people. And it's like, man, it's like you ain't encouraging, you ain't showing no love. They only see the one side. And I'm telling people, you should look for the balance of it, because those same people do have some loving aspects about them. But of course, you probably ain't around them at that time. And so we have to, as ministers, remember They don't get to see every aspect of our life. So we need to show some balance and show some of this love, some of this encouragement. You know, right now I'm dealing with the being tired aspect and stuff like that, and how sometimes you get weary, but you got to show them that had you fought through this weariness. Let them know that, okay, this is something that's going to happen. But again, I'm in this to the end. I'm enduring. I'm trying to win, and I'm going to win because I trust in Yah, so that they can see, okay, they ain't got to quit either. They can keep fighting through. But again, let me go read this last verse. Do your utmost to present yourself approved to Elohim. Again, that's basically in line with what I just said. Do your utmost to present yourself approved to Elohim, a worker who does not need to be ashamed, rightly handling the word of truth. Now let me go over here to close this out, because I want to show you, because we basically see that we are to walk and be like Mashiach. But some people make it as if you aren't going to have moments that you're sick and tired, have moments that you're grieving, or that you're just basically like, man, feeling forsaken. But even Yahusha felt forsaken. So I'm going to just read this short little bit and show you how he was going through something in the Garden of Gethsemane. So Matthew 26, and I'm going to start at what's called verse 36. It says, Then Yahusha came with them to a place called Gethsemane and said to the taught ones, sit here while I go over there and pray. Okay, I got to just address this. Many try to say that him and the Father are the same. If they're the same, who is he going to talk to? Himself? And he went apart from his taught one, so he ain't really giving them an example or whatever. He's doing something for his own benefit right now. And he took with him Kepha and the two sons of Zebedee, and he began to be grieved and deeply distressed. Why would Yahuwah ever have to be grieved and depressed? But again, we dealing with how we as men deal with stuff. Yahusha was grieved and deeply distressed. And then he said to them, my being is exceedingly grieved, even to death. Stay here and watch with me. See, they right by him, but they not right directly there. You could say he's doing this for example, but no, he need to have a discussion with his father. Just like sometimes when you're going through stuff, you need to have a discussion with your father so that you can get back in this, so you can get the motivation and the encouragement to endure. Me being a father, I love talking to my children to encourage them that, we got to be the earthly example, even encouraging our wives. We ourselves need this encouragement. For those whose father are gone or didn't have a father, sometimes you may need, I don't like to use the word mentor, but you might need a guide, somebody that can, help you with conversation to not quit, endure to the end. So then he said to them, my being is exceedingly grieved, even to death. Stay here and watch with me. And going forward a little, he went away from him. He fell on his face and prayed, saying, oh, my Father. He didn't say, oh, to me. Oh, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not as I desire, not my will, but your will be done. But as you desire. He's pleading with his Father, not with himself. He's not being double-minded. He's pleading with the Father. Our Father is his Father. He's our brother. And he came to the taught ones and found them asleep. He like, I'm over here in conversation. I'm struggling, and my partners, they over there asleep. And he said to Kepha, so were you not able to watch with me 1 hour? Just 1 hour. Watch and pray lest you enter into trial. The spirit, the Ruach, indeed is eager, but the flesh is weak. Again, he went away. He moved away from him a second time and prayed, saying, "Oh, my father, if it is impossible for this to pass, unless I drink it, let your desire be done." He knew what he had to do. And it like, this is hard. This job that I'm on, this work I got to do, it's a lot. And if I ain't got to do it, let me bypass this. But he like, but if I got to do it, I'm gonna do it. Excuse me. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them, went away again, and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Then he came to his taught ones and said to them, still sleeping and taking rest, see, the hour has come near, and the son of Adam is delivered up into the hands of the sinners. You're going to be tested. You're going to go through some stuff. You're going to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. Yet, endure. Salvation, I once saved, I'm saved. Saved from what? If you still here and you still going through stuff, what show me your saved, you being saved. You still going through something. Saving, you got to endure to the end. Endure is a process. Endure means that you're going to go through something. If you're going through it, don't stop. Don't stay in it. Keep pressing through. And then when you get to the other side, maybe you can call back to other folks and guide them through and say, oh man, it was hard, but you can do it. And I'm telling you now, it's hard, but you can do it. Be encouraged. As a father, sometimes I got to tell my children, come on, press through this. Because the reward in the end is greater than, this moment. And I have to encourage myself. Because, man, I don't want to be, I'm 53 and I'm tired of working. I really am. I love, you see, this is my business. I want my business to flourish, because I like doing it. But working for someone, I don't like it. Because the respect, the energy is not good, and I'll be wanting to match energy. But again, I sowed the seeds that I'm reaping by not putting forth the effort early. And that's why I'll be trying to tell my children, put that effort in early so you ain't got to put it in late. Go through something now so you ain't got to go through something later. And don't try to cheat the process. So many people be trying to, get rich quick or do some of the things, and you end up hurting yourself more in doing these things. And yeah, I guess, sometimes it pay off for some people, but the list of people that is hurt off of those, gambles is way greater than those that have succeeded off those gambles. And it ain't worth it. But I tell you this, though, you see even Yahusha went through some stuff. Know that if you ain't going through stuff, maybe you really ain't who you say you is. And a lot of folks out here, you don't ever see them going through something. You got to wonder, are they really who they say they is? Or maybe they hiding and not putting it out there. Your test is supposed to be a testimony to others. Your test shows that you really are his. Again, I showed you people who are his that went through some tests. And so you got to question those that never go through something. Maybe they going through it and they not disclosing or sharing it with other folks. But those tests are for the benefits of others, because when they see that you got through it, they believe, okay, I can too. What you do before men is an example. You can tell them all day the words and stuff like that, but they want to see you get through it. You know, I know people who have spent time in jail but came out being business owners and stuff like that, and they making a lot of money. That right there is encouraging to other people who went through stuff, because a lot of times when you get in those systems, you feel like, oh, my life is over. I never find a good job. And these people, they have actually made their own industries. So they doing well despite what has happened. You know, you got a lot of folks that have no education, that did not finish college, but end up being millionaires. So to know that it's possible is good. No, you don't want to, look at that and say, well, I'm gonna do it that way or whatever. But you just want to put forth your effort to get ahead every way you can. But to know that you can stumble and recover from it is a good thing. You can get weary, you can get tired, but once you put yourself back into it, you can still come back and finish strong. Endure to the end. Abba Yah, thank you for this Shabbat. Thank you for this opportunity to minister. May those that are getting weary, sick, and tired, all those different things, receive encouragement for those around them that see the weariness on them, so that they may endure and finish the race. May this word be something that encourages some. Yes, we could mention the things that, cause us to complain, but also let us, mention the things that cause us to get back in the race and finish, that we don't just stay in the thick of things and stop. We want to show that we get through things and complete the race. So, Abba Yah, your will be done on this Shabbat, this day of rest, and going forth. May we learn to atone for things as we go forth, not just one day of atonement, but atone for it through the days of life, so that we may endure and win over and over as your walking examples of your image in the earth. Your will be done on earth as is in the Shamayim. Hallelujah, Yada, Yahuwah, Shabbat Shalom, Shanquil Yah, Shanquilla Carter, One Vision Ministry. Shabbat Shalom.